Everyone tells you to do wrist curls. Grab a dumbbell, curl it up and down, repeat forever. And if you've tried that, but you already know it doesn't work. Your wrists are still thin, your forearms still look the same, and you have no idea why. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Your wrist joint itself cannot be made bigger, ever. The wrist is a joint. Bones, tendons, ligaments. There is no muscle sitting on top of the wrist bone that you can grow. The circumference of your wrist is almost entirely determined by your bone structure and your genetics. If you have naturally narrow wrist bones, no amount of training changes that. And that's where most people stop. They hear that, they give up, and they never fix the actual problem. Because here's what they missed. Nobody is actually looking at your wrist bone. What people see, or what makes wrists look thin or thick, is the forearm directly above it. The forearm is one of the most muscular areas of the human body. Dozens of muscles run from your elbow all the way down to your fingers. When those muscles are developed, your wrist looks thick. When they're underdeveloped, your wrist looks like a stick regardless of your bone structure. This is the actual problem, and it has an actual solution. So why don't wrist curls work? Because wrist curls only train one small movement, wrist flexion. They hit a tiny portion of the forearm muscles, and they do it in complete isolation with almost no load. Your forearms are built for heavy work. They wrap around everything you lift, pull, and carry. They respond to load and volume, not light isolation exercises. The single best thing you can do for forearm development is heavy compound pulling, deadlifts, pull-ups, barbell rows, farmer carries. Every time you grip something heavy, your forearms are working, and progressive overload on those movements builds the forearm thickness that makes your wrists look completely different. The second piece is grip training. Your grip is the direct connection between your hand and your forearm muscles. A stronger grip means more forearm activation in everything you do. Dead hangs from a pull-up bar, fat grip training, towel pull-ups, heavy carries held for time. These movements build the kind of forearm density that wrist curls will never touch. Now here's the part most people completely overlook. Muscle growth doesn't happen without the right nutrition. And forearms, like every other muscle, need protein, calories, and consistency to grow. Most people training for bigger forearms are either eating too little protein, not eating enough overall, or not being consistent enough to see the results compound over time. This is where tracking becomes the difference maker. Not guessing, not estimating, knowing your exact protein intake, your calorie target, your weekly consistency. The people with the best forearm development aren't just training harder, they're eating smarter. So here's the full answer. You cannot change your wrist bones, but you almost certainly can build significantly thicker forearms. And that changes everything about how your wrists look. Heavy pulling, progressive grip training, enough protein, consistent calories. That's it. That's the whole answer. Subscribe for more.